Imagine waking up one day to find that cats and dogs, sworn enemies by nature's design, have decided to set aside their differences to tackle a common threat. Now, replace cats and dogs with some of history's most iconic enemies, and you've got the makings of our story today. In this video, we're uncovering some of the most unexpected alliances ever formed. From the gritty battlefields of World War II, where Allies and Axis powers found themselves in uneasy cooperation, to the ancient world where Sparta and Athens put their legendary rivalry on pause to face a greater foe, and even the Chinese Communists and Nationalists, who briefly bridged their huge divide to resist the Japanese invasion. But why, you might wonder, would such bitter rivals choose to stand side by side? What could possibly compel them to look past their deep-seated hatred? Stay tuned as we explore the fascinating dynamics that led to this strange cooperation. These stories are real proof that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but with twists that you'll have to see to believe. These historical team-ups were calculated moves that, in some cases, changed the course of history. Through these alliances, enemies found common ground, proving that even the most unlikely partnerships could forge path to victory, or at the very least, fight mutual destruction. They show us the complexity of human relationships and the lengths to which we'll go when faced with existential threats. Plus, who doesn't love a good story of foes becoming friends, even if just for a brief moment? Let's start with a scenario that sounds like it was pulled straight from a film, yet it's as real as history gets. Imagine the harsh, unforgiving landscapes of World War II, a period of fierce battles, unparalleled hatred, and ideological divides. Here, amidst the chaos and destruction, something extraordinary happened. Allies and Axis forces, who had spent years involved in bitter conflict, found themselves in a situation where cooperation wasn't just beneficial, it was necessary for survival. Hidden in the scenic Austrian Alps, Castle Erter was the setting for an incredible story of unity against a common enemy. In the last few days of World War II, with the Third Reich crumbling, a unique group formed that could rival any fictional alliance for its sheer improbability. American soldiers teamed up with Wehrmacht foot soldiers, French prisoners, and an SS officer to defend the castle against an onslaught by the 17th Waffen-SS Panzergrenadier Division. This alliance was a daring and desperate collaboration to protect high-profile French prisoners who had been held at Castle Erter. Among these prisoners were former prime ministers, generals, and even the sister of Charles de Gaulle. The defenders were a crew including American GIs led by Captain John C. Jack Lee Jr., German soldiers unhappy with the Nazi regime, and the French VIPs themselves. They fought side by side to hold off the SS until reinforcements could arrive. The Battle of Castle Erter was one of the only known instances during the war where Americans and Germans fought as allies. The battle was an incredible moment of humanity and mutual respect among enemies united against a common foe. The German soldiers, led by Major Joseph Sepp Gangl, chose to stand with the American and French prisoners. They defied their country's orders, driven by a sense of honor and a desire to protect innocent lives. The battle ended with French prisoners being liberated and Castle Erter protected, but at a cost. Major Gangl, who had become a key figure in the Austrian resistance against the Nazis, was killed during the battle. Now let's travel back in time to the sun-baked lands of ancient Greece. This was a place where the art of war and the politics of alliances were as sophisticated as their philosophy. Back then, Sparta and Athens were two city-states at the height of their power, yet they were as different as fire and water. One was known for its unyielding military discipline and warrior ethos. The other was a beacon of democracy, philosophy, and art. Their rivalry was legendary, their battles epic. However, faced with a threat that overshadowed their hate for each other, these two fierce competitors orchestrated one of history's most remarkable turnabouts. Enter the Persians, an empire so vast and powerful that the Greek city-states appeared as specks in comparison. When the Persian juggernaut set its sights on Greece, it turned a military invasion into a clash of civilizations. The stakes couldn't be higher. For the Greeks, they had to preserve their land, way of life, and their very identity. In the face of this existential threat, Sparta and Athens understood the impossibility of facing such a foe alone, so they chose unity over division. This wasn't a simple truce, but a strong alliance that used their unique strengths. Spartans brought their unparalleled military powers, their warriors standing as the unbreakable backbone of the Greek defense. Athenians, on the other hand, contributed their formidable navy and strategic creativity, playing a crucial role in the battles at Marathon and Salamis. The Battle of Thermopylae, although a tactical defeat, became a symbol of Greek resistance and courage, largely due to the Spartan sacrifice led by King Leonidas and his 300 Spartans alongside a few thousand allies. This act of bravery, despite the overwhelming odds, reinvigorated the Greek city-states, showing the world the depth of their resolve. Following this, the stunning naval victory at Salamis, created using Athenian cunning and bravery, turned the tide against the Persians, showing the effectiveness of Greek strategy and innovation. Eventually, the Greeks' victory preserved their city-states' independence and cultural identity, setting the stage for the Golden Age of Athens and leaving a legacy that would shape Western civilization forever. Skipping forward to the 20th century, we've got yet another temporary truce. This time, it was between the Chinese Communists and Nationalists during the Second World War. Before the Japanese invasion, China was stuck in a bitter civil war that pitted the communist forces, led by Mao Zedong, against the nationalist government under Chiang Kai-shek. These two factions were ideological worlds apart. They were locked in a struggle for the soul and future of China, a battle filled with intense hostility and bloodshed. However, as the clouds of war gathered over Asia, a new and dangerous threat emerged. The Japanese imperial ambitions were no secret, and by the mid-1930s, their aggressive expansion into China threatened to destroy the entire region. The brutality of the Japanese invasion during horrors like the Nanjing Massacre was an urgent cause for unity among the Chinese. In the face of such relentless aggression, the communist and nationalist leaders made the practical decision to suspend their civil conflict, recognizing that their survival depended on standing together against the common enemy. This uneasy alliance, known as the Second United Front, was an alliance of necessity rather than of choice. The communists and nationalists maintained their distinct identities and visions for China's future, yet they coordinated their military efforts against the Japanese. This period of cooperation saw both sides using guerrilla warfare and conventional military operations. Despite their ideological differences, these methods were crucial in tying down Japanese forces and contributing to the broader Allied war effort in the Pacific. However, it was not an easy alliance. This tense cooperation suffered from mutual distrust. Both sides took part in a delicate dance of cooperation and competition. They each knew that their partnership was temporary and that the struggle for China's future would resume once the external threat was neutralized. Even so, this period of partnership allowed both the communists and nationalists to build their strength, bide their time, and prepare for the resumed civil war that would inevitably follow Japan's defeat. This was a key moment in Chinese history. For a brief time, the future leaders of the People's Republic of China and the Republic of China set aside their differences to confront a greater menace. It showed the practical side of political and military leadership, with each side showing they could prioritize the immediate survival of the nation over long-term ideological goals. From the frost-bitten landscapes of World War II, where American and German soldiers found a common cause, to the ancient battlefields of Greece, where Sparta and Athens united against the Persian Empire, and across to the turbulent skies of China, Where communists and nationalists temporarily set aside their strife to oppose a foreign invader, each story shares a common threat. Humans have an incredible capacity for adaptation and cooperation when we face near impossible threats. These alliances, born out of absolute necessity, show more than their leaders' abilities to make practical decisions made by leaders. They show the resilience and flexibility of people in times of crisis. They remind us that while history often remembers tales of conflict and division, it is also filled with moments of unity and collaboration. These episodes teach us lessons on the potential for reconciliation and the strength that comes from facing common challenges together, regardless of past animosities. These historic team-ups show us the complexities of human nature and the dynamics of power, politics, and survival. They teach us about the importance of looking beyond differences to find common ground. In each alliance, the message is clear: unity is a powerful force.